and as well, like very much keep the proposed new landscape completely hidden from the street, but also very much in line with the coastal sage chaparral ecosystem in which we kind of find ourselves working, as well as the existing kind of slightly Mediterranean orchard-like conditions. So as you can see here with our planting palette, the plants are a mix of mostly native plants. We're of course being very thoughtful of water use and ecology, where this project like kind of sits in the larger ecosystem. And we're really just wanting to do some thoughtful planting and remediation around the area of disturbance where the cabana and the pool are going in so that we minimize the visual impact of this property, both on the site itself, but in a larger context, and also to make it beautiful and appropriate for Santa Barbara. So yeah, and of course, we've met all of our water calculations as well. So that's in a quick spiel. That's how we're thinking about the landscape and garden approach as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions from, is there any members of the public that would like to speak on this application?
Mr. Chair, we haven't had any letters submitted and nobody signed up for public comment.
Okay, any questions from the board? Any questions? No? I have a question. How do you deal with the high fire for the pergola, for the trellis?
We're going to use the treated wood.
Treated wood, okay. All right, that answers the question. Okay, so who would like to, could you show the elevations, please? Yeah, is there any renderings? Usually these things come with renderings, but I was just wondering.
We don't have a 3D view of it. It's pretty straightforward. You know, it's just the pencil rendering on the cover sheet, but okay. It's just a 300 square foot, you know, building that has a lower section over the utilities.
There you go. So, there we go. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I think this applicant usually has nice renderings. Okay, good.
Everybody likes my hand.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, comments from the board.
So, by mass, bulk, and scale are fine. Appropriate architectural style is appropriate, compatible with the existing. I didn't quite get a sense of the existing structures, but I believe this is consistent with that, right? So I think the board would find for all those things. There's certainly compatibility with the neighborhood, and I think in this case, the applicants did a good job of explaining what that means here, because it's more of a kind of an ecosystem than it is a neighborhood, and it seems to be being this proposal is very sensitive to, I think, Toro Canyon, which is a precious resource, as we all know. So yeah, so it looks architectural style is fine and well documented, well presented. Thank you. I don't have any real comments for them other than just to move it forward.
Yeah, I agree. It's been carefully designed and considered in its environment, and I would suggest prelim and final on consent.
Yep, I concur. I think prelim and final on consent would be appropriate, and yeah, all positive comments.
I agree with all the positive comments.
Well, so looking good. I will see you on consent. See you next time.
Thank you.
Just for the applicant.
Thank you.
Hold on. There's a comment.
Just for the applicant, the landscape plan just return with a. This project wouldn't require a full landscape plan, would it? I think, yeah, just a formalized landscape plan for the next round.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We move on to item number 4. We've seen this one several times. 2940 Torito Road, the Ravanchinas addition and accessory structure. And we have the applicant here on board, and is the applicant, yeah. So what's the screen over there that I'm looking at, Jonathan? Who's that? Those are not the applicants, right? No,
that's just your typical rescue.
It's county workers. Okay, just checking. So is the applicant online?
Yes, we have Nello Manciati.
Great. Thank you. This is Nello Manciati.
Correct, yes, thank you.
Yes, okay, so let me read the comments. Last time we said, we saw this 1, 2, 3 times. The board is supportive of the changes to the project as it is more cohesive with existing house. Clarify drawings to clearly demonstrate what is existing versus what is proposed. Return with more photos showing the existing setting. Return with arborist report. Clearly identify on plans which trees will be removed and which trees are proposed for mitigation. And you're returning for preliminary and final review. So the floor is yours.
Good morning and happy holidays for everybody. And we clearly show in the plot plan what is the addition and what's the original house. We just add the square footage to the kitchen and the porch, open porch in the front of the house. And we clearly show up the trees that are going to be removed, which is E48 and E44. And we will have those removed, and we already talked with the planner to replace by 6 new trees on premises.
Yeah. No. You're going to this side plan. Those are shown in the side plan, right?
Yeah, on the side plan, you can see
the side plan, Jonathan, side plan.
Oh, that's the rendering.
You know what page it might
Page
be
number
on?
1, it is. Right there, you can see
Cover
it.
sheet?
What is new is in the darker color. You can see it on the elevations too. Next to the house, you can see a tree number 48 and 44. Those are going to be removed. You make it bigger, probably. It will
Yeah, if you
better.
scroll up just a little bit.
Yeah, it's 44 and 48. And we did an
There you go.
enlargement
go.
on the corner. Yeah, 44 and 48. Those 2 are going to be removed. And we already are planting the 6 new trees. We didn't remove it yet until we got approval, but we are planting the new trees just in case. We have the new septic tank approved already.
Go to the side plan again, the other one. The septic tank is shown there then, or
Yeah, it's right there on in front of the house. It's right there. It was approved already. Existing.
Oh, there it is. It's
tank in the same
existing.
position, yeah.
And where's the new one?
It's in the same place, the same position.
Same place. They're just
Yeah.
replacing it in kind,
Yeah.
right?
And we have a new pit already done. And one that was missing, the renderings of we couldn't download to the board. So now we download it, and you can see the look of the house is practically the original one, but you can see with the porch, we have more appeal on the front. And the color we changed to white color because the property is totally in shadow, and it makes the colors darker. So we try to pick up the color white on the facade because we need more light to reflect. That was the main idea. But they are the renderings for your consideration, and I hope we are in the right path.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And the arborist report, do we have that or yeah?
Yeah, it's right
It's
there.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Very good. So I think that's it, right? Those are the comments. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is for preliminary and final review. Do we have any details or is much existing? Or what do you have in terms of details? No, not that. No, that's the. Those are our details, right? The county details. We have these are not like working drawings, right? Like yeah. Well, okay. It just seems like we have enough for the preliminary, maybe not enough for final. Is that, I don't know, just please, it's your turn to speak.
It
Okay.
could be final on consent with the details, your architectural details for the
Okay.
house, not just standard county details.
Yeah, like I mean, the posts for the porch details, the handrails, the steps, the windows, if they're either matched existing or show what the existing exactly is. And anyway, all the architectural details, right? That would be
Yeah.
missing.
Are your windows matching the existing windows, or are you replacing?
Yeah, we are matching the existing windows. There's a couple that are damaged. We will replace them, but after inspection, probably they are going to match the original ones.
Are these wood clad? What are you're in the high fire zone? So what kind of windows are you proposing?
The original that we have is a aluminum with dark window.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Comments? We have
Yes.
public
Mhm.
comment?
Yeah. We don't have any public comments, right?
Um,
Public comment, right?
It's the first time
No
I'm
pub-
seeing it. Looks like a pretty clever treatment of a difficult existing condition, I would say, because there's a pretty good grade change. So it seems like the addition is kind of improving the proportion of the house. If I can't, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, no.
But it's anyway, my point was it seems like a pretty crafty way of adding on and getting this house to connect to the site, I think is what really this is about, creating some indoor, outdoor area. So, but I think it's done pretty well. So, mass bulk and scales seem appropriate from that standpoint. And I don't think there's any compatibility issues. They're just adding on to what's already there. So it seems compatible with the neighborhood and the surroundings, and the architectural style seems appropriate. And yeah, I agree. I think it just needs come back with some design details specifically. And I don't have any critique or comment on the design at this point.
I concur.
What do you guys? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you adequately responded to the previous comments, and the ARPA's report looks sufficient. So I'd be happy to move this one along for, sounds like there's architectural details, but final on consent.
Yeah, I agree with the positive comments.
Well, okay, so we need a motion for preliminary with, go ahead.
I'll make a motion for preliminary and final on consent with details.
Yeah.
And
Better organized drawings.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think we would like some, a little bit, I mean, this is a lot better than we've been seeing in the past. I must admit, this is a much better presentation. We still need to bump it up a little bit. What we mean by drawings is not boilerplate information like Title 24 and high fire standards or something like that. We want real architectural drawings, how the windows are installed, how the porch elements connect, etc. Right?
right, particularly when you're adding on and you've got existing conditions that you're trying to coordinate with.
You can ask a planner to show you recent submittals that have been approved, that if you want to get a better sense of what is being discussed here, and those are available in the public record usually.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
Second.
Didn't you? I thought you said, yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? No. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll see you on consent. Thank you. We move on to item number 5. A request by VMH8 for the property, the MRE1 single-family dwelling at 210 Montecito Ranch Lane. And we have a series of comments last time. Positive comments, the mass Balkan scale is appropriate, the architectural style is appropriate for the neighborhood, and the siding is appropriate with the development, given the development envelope. Consider reviewing the fireplace structure. Articulation needed, study shroud at the top. Provide details on the colors. Colors need to be toned down. Articulate some of the facades on the north elevation. Look at how north elevation can be broken up with material change or articulation. Consider change at basement level. There are significant elevation changes on site. Study continuing the retaining wall system around the northeast corner. Consider a soft retaining wall. F, materials look appropriate. G, entry court could be finesse. Potentially break up the materials so paving doesn't look so expansive. Some integration of other materials could soften the entry. On northwest corner, consider whether there is a way to bring the grade down for the house to feel more nestled into the site. This development is exposed to Summerland to the neighborhood. There is a good opportunity to nestle into the contours. J, roof height is reasonable. So, here you are. Welcome.
Good morning, Michael Stroh with DMHA. So the last time the board saw this project was in February of this year. We just had a little bit of a delay for a few things, and so we're coming back here today to ask for preliminary approval of this project. We've developed the drawings significantly, including full civil and landscape drawings, as well as looking at some of the various pieces of architecture that and some of the questions that the board had. The last time we were here, from a general standpoint, the board was generally in favor of the siding and of the house. There were just some very kind of specific things that could be looked at, and we've done so. So I'd actually like to start. I'm kind of going to go out of order here, to the comments, but I want to make sure I address all of them. So first, I want to start with, so the motor court, because we have to have the fire truck turnaround and they have to be able to get on site for our hoselings, what we ended up doing is we ended up truncating our permeable concrete significantly, pulling it away from the house, actually narrowing it up. So we just have a actually fairly small concrete motor court. And where the fire truck turns around, we just have the class 2 DG paving for their to meet their compressive requirements. And that that was all concrete previously. The time when you saw it, we actually had significantly more paving around the motor court itself. As we made that smaller, we actually were able to increase the number of plants and landscaping around that courtyard. So what I'd like to do actually now is actually go to the landscape plan, because it's page 14, if you would. Oh, okay. It's after the civil, so keep going. One more. There you go. So we're working with Chris Gilliland of Common Ground, and he actually was on the initial comments for this project, and then as he cycled off the board, we hired him, and so he had a lot to say about what we wanted to do. And so what we've done is we have a hedge along the cul-de-sac at Montecito Ranch Lane that's existing, the Pittosporum hedge, or Myoporum hedge, sorry. And what we're planning on doing is basically along that frontage, we're planning on some fairly large mature trees, and then as well as kind of down, kind of to buffer the lot. The driveway for the lot to the west is immediately kind of on the property line. So we're trying to kind of buffer those two with some fairly large trees. The other thing that does is it actually screens the
It actually screens the house quite well from the street, and I'll show you that in a minute. And so if you could go to sheet 801, it's the second to last sheet in the entire set. We have all of our details and we have all of those things, but I want to show you the renderings. So one of the big discussions that we had the last time here, there were several. As you come in and you enter off the street, we had a large chimney, which is the primary chimney for the house, kind of immediately, kind of visible at the gate. And we previously had it as plaster. And so we actually decided we added some stone to the chimney and gave it a cap and gave it a nice decorative cap. We also expanded, if you look at the upper right rendering, we articulated the front entry to the house as well as sort of the centerpiece on the motor court with that same stone. And then we also have that at the gate pilasters to sort of tie those things together, just give the facade a little bit more articulation than just the straight plaster. On the back side of the house, there was concern about the northwestern corner and the northwestern corner and the northeastern corner related to how the house sits in the grade. These sites are interesting because they're 5-acre parcels. This one actually has a huge development envelope, but because of some obscure report from 30 years ago, we can't actually develop on anything kind of lower than where we're at because we have 20% grades and any number of other things apparently. So we're really trying to hit where this site has an existing pad, and which we've done, and it's at street level. But so in order to kind of rotate the house and kind of move it around in the grade, obviously the last time we were here, along the at the lower left-hand corner rendering, along the pool there, we had a significant, like a 10-foot wall there, and it was pretty bare bones, and we didn't have any wall at all on the northwestern corner, which is what you see on the lower right. So we looked at this with Chris, and what we decided to do was to place some stone walls, some stone retaining walls, and to just kind of buffer that with a little bit of planting, and just to kind of soften those. And we worked on kind of the proportioning of how that sort of edge wall works at the edge of the pool, and sort of how that kind of works together kind of across that northern elevation. And so we also, when we were here before, the colors were fairly dark. And so we've muted those a little bit, and we actually have a materials board, which I'll show you in a minute. Actually, it's the next sheet. Actually, we should go to that. So, so we've chosen a plaster color, and then we've chosen a kind of a light colored limestone for the stone cladding. And then we've got a dark slate roof. We have aluminum clad wood windows and doors. And then we do have some exposed wood at the garage doors and things like that, which will have a nice dark stain to them. And then we'll have some nice decorative stone paving at it's some various places and patios around around the house to try and pick up some of that limestone cladding on the house. Let's see. Beyond that, all we've done is we have again we've developed the drawings much more significantly. Obviously, we've done all of the details we would need all the way through final, but we're only here for preliminary today, and we feel that we've addressed the concerns of the board, and we would love to have your comments.
Great.
With that, I yield back.
Very good. So no comments online, right? No.
We have received no letters for this item, and we have nobody in our attendees column.
Okay. Very good. Okay, questions from the board. Mr. Blum.
Go to west elevation number 4 on sheet 8201.
201?
Yeah.
Yes, right there at the top. So there's the section kind of directing us to the section cut 2 in blue there, on the left side of the drawing. That's a door. Excuse me, that's a door coming out onto what looks like slope.
Yeah.
And then, so just need some clarification on, but below that door, there's a material on that wall. Is that stone?
Yes.
Is there, can you explain why you're not wrapping that around to if you go to the elevation below on the bottom right? Why not? I think there was some comment around trying to break up the backside of this thing, or this elevation. It's kind of problematic how it just kind of aside from the rest of the house, it seems like very variated and kind of proportioned, and then the back just kind of launches off the site. So I think cutting that in half with some material would do that, but it seems like it's right there. Like if I look in the rendering that you had on the last page, it seems like you just want to see that stone come around that corner. It would probably help. What I think you're trying to do is step the elevation and pull it apart a little bit.
Zoom out to see all the elevations.
There's a on the last set of drawings you have, there's a rendering that shows it. There, down at the bottom right. You see it, like the stone's on one side and it doesn't wrap.
Yeah.
Seems like that would do a lot to do what you're talking about. Looks like and you're probably gonna have some flat area there that's not shown in the 3D model, right? That door. Around that back, there's probably, I think on the site plan, it shows like a sidewalk.
Yeah, there's a gravel.
Yeah, so I'm not
Gravel way.
concerned about it. I was just trying to locate us with the door. I don't care. I know what you guys are contending with there. That's not a concern. But and just as a question, like, have you guys considered it? Is it something worth doing in your mind, or what?
We've looked at a couple of different things there. I think it's all on the table as far as what we can do. The owner was trying to minimize costs in terms of adding a significant amount of stone, but we part of it too is, potentially maybe it doesn't even go all the way. Maybe it just articulates at the corner and becomes something becomes an element to kind of cap that end. But we're certainly happy to look at it.
But in this rendering, the lower wall, that's to be stone now?
Yeah, it just doesn't, the light color on the wall just doesn't show up as well.
So one trade-off might be, is it's kind of similar. You have a similar condition off the pool, and from the owner's perspective, they're not going to enjoy that being stone, because it's out of, they're looking off and over it. And I doubt if anybody below is going to be able to detect whether that's stone or not. So going, it may be if we're trying to kind of balance a budget here a little bit, maybe that just stays, those retaining walls stay plaster, and you
swap one for the other.
Yeah, and you put a little bit of a base on the building with some stone on that corner, and anywhere else that you think it would be appropriate. But I was looking at the renderings and seeing that you had stone on your gates, which of course the neighborhood and the owner would enjoy. And when you go into the entry court, you see it at the front of the house. So those are all presenting really nicely. And I thought, you're doing the retaining wall in plaster as you show it. And I thought, well, that makes sense because you're not going to see it. So why go to the expense there if it's not visible? It's really there just to kind of set the house into the grade. So if you want to pull back the budget on those retaining walls and just make them plaster, or even use boulders, if that, because those things, I know they get expensive, right? I've seen a few, maybe the landscape architects can speak to this, but I've seen a few people pull stones out of these sites and use those to retain, and they actually are a lot less than a foundational kind of wall. But anyway, all that. So it's a question.
Let me go to the elevations. Yeah, this is my, actually, first time seeing this house. And these two elevations don't look like the same house. The scale of your big multi-sliding doors and then the other side, they just are not coordinated with each other. And it's pretty, the rendering too strikes me as very austere and kind of tall and undeveloped on the north elevation. I would agree with Josh that if you can screen those walls with landscape and instead put the stone into the facade of the building, that could maybe help this. But I'm still having difficulty with these two elevations not looking connected to each other.
So I guess we're into comments now. So look, I think just go through your list. Mass bulk and scale all seem appropriate. It seems like we're kind of revisiting that, which kind of sucks because we already told you it was appropriate. So,
well, it's not like we're saying lower the building.
yeah,
We're
no, I
saying
think
figure out how to break up the facade and coordinate the windows.
like that's it. That's what I was going to say is that it still applies, I think, but it's just a matter of finish. So I would say a comment is study wrapping some stone around the two bookends of that elevation, or perhaps study maybe a trellis between the upper and lower floors on the central element in the courtyard. That's how, I don't think that's south facing, that's north facing, right?
Yeah, it is
Northeast, yeah.
north-facing.
So a trellis might be a solution there, but something to study, breaking up that elevation.
Yeah, it's
Be-
item D in the.
Even if it's like just a 3-foot projected kind of trellis with a spot, like with a wisteria or some kind of planting in it, that could work. That might be better than popping stone on there, but study that. I'm sure there's a variety of ways you can treat it, but that's the only booger on this thing that needs any attention. Everything else, I think, looks great. I'll defer to the landscape architects on the landscaping, but
Speaker of turn, what happens is that well, I mean, you should, yeah. What happens is that the openings are all different. You have the sliding doors, which they seem to be like 40 inches wide, each of them, and then you have that's in the facing north, and then facing south, I guess. And what's the other one? And the elevation, they are very narrow and tall. The windows, some of the windows are narrow, some of the windows are medium size, wide. So I think I would say more of something to unify all the openings, so they're more or less, they seem to be in the same family. I think that's really what the other architects are referring to. It's a little bit of a chaotic fenestration for the building, which is very organized and otherwise, but this element it seems to be lacking. So that's my architectural comment. Sorry to be out of line. I will pass the baton here to the landscape architects.
Jonathan, can we go quickly to the renderings? I think it's 801. Thank you. Yeah, then maybe the bottom right one be good. Yeah, that was going to be my comment. I think Josh picked up on it. I think not quite successful with the retaining walls. I do want to make one correction. Chris was not on the board for the last meeting in January or February, but he's doing a nice job here. I think wrapping the stone would be really successful. That's my personal opinion on this. As potentially using boulders or some type of maybe going away from the angular nature of the retaining walls potentially, and that's kind of how it may feel settled into this hillside. Really, cost is a concern with wrapping limestone at the bottom, but often see that as the bottom floor, of course, to make it feel grounded. I do think if we can go to the elevation, the flat elevation of that side. Yeah, I think one of the problems may be that the walls stop right at the edges of the building and it's very kind of abrupt. Maybe there's an opportunity potentially to bring that lower retaining wall a little bit past the corner on the left-hand side potentially, and kind of wrap around to the architecture that may make it feel a little bit more settled into the hillside. I think vines on the retaining walls, potentially, if you do go with plaster, would be helpful to mute the colors from the neighboring properties looking at it from this angle. I would be preferential, I'd be partial to stone retaining walls, but I think if you did do plaster, it could work with like a ficus vine or something on there to soften it, at least for the lower one. But overall, I think the improvements to the driveway are really nice, just softening the hardscape with the turnaround. I think look forward to seeing the final landscape plan. I think the chimney, that comment, I think that was fine. I think you guys have adequate trees on the frontage, so I think that comment was addressed now. But overall, a nice project. I think this just needs a little bit more fine tuning for sure.
Hey, Jonathan, can you load up the landscape page on here? Please. Yeah, I really appreciate the introduction of all the large specimen oak trees in the front of the property. I think that's a very nice addition. And I agree with the improvement of the driveway here. One comment I was going to suggest is that introducing some type of circulation around the entire property would probably help to connect the patios and landscape spaces. It appears from this drawing like there's the intent of landscaping out pretty far from the edge of the house. So I think in the area where you got that DG turnaround, or I guess you also got some steps kind of going around the garage there, I would just suggest that maybe you could connect up a path that would wrap around to that other patio space where everybody was kind of commenting on the facade, and maybe that could loop around and kind of connect all these landscape areas. I think it would be nice for the property. It also would serve to help with the maintenance needed in the landscape. So other than that, I think I don't have much else to add. So
okay, I'd like to add a comment on the driveway. I think you improved a lot. It seemed, but still, you kind of get the idea when you open, especially on the shot from the front, from the gate, that you're basically driving right into the house. And I wonder if there's something you can go one step farther, and let me point to the board. Formalized, more like a board, different textures. So like it is, or maybe it's just a border on certain areas, just to organize the access, because it does seem like you're driving right into the front door, into the house itself. So if you can do some kind of changing of materials, I understand you want to unify, not have one piece of each, but maybe a border around, and then DG, the fire edge kind of fades away because you put the something to make it a little bit more formal in the approach. So anyway, that's the comment on the driveway, but it's better than what it was. It's moving in the right direction. So is this ready for preliminary?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion. I'd like to see this board end the year by moving something forward and approving something. So given that this is the last item on the agenda for 2025, congratulations, sir. Made it to the finish line with us. And I know you've been working diligently on all the different properties on this hilltop. It was highly controversial at one point, and you've calmed it down. And I think you've done a good job getting these things, getting these large homes in, kind of into this setting in a very expert manner. And the fact that nobody's here yelling at us or opposing you today from the public demonstrates that again. So it definitely quieted it down somehow. Because I remember struggling with a lot of these and trying to figure out how to make them work for a couple of years, right? It's been a few years.
It's been 11 years.
I've been here for all of that, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So, the documentation looks pretty smartly done. So I think we're just nibbling around at the edge of the project, but the siding, as we've discussed, is good. You have a very stringent limitation there, and I think you've done the best you could do with that. It seems appropriate, and all of that's working. The house is here, the driveway's where it needs to be now, and we're talking about detail, which can come back on final. Why don't we do a motion up for a preliminary approval today, come back to full board on final, and we can wrap this up. I think we've given you good comments. You guys are great architects, and landscape architects, so you'll figure out what to do. If we want to hear back the comments from Joe, since we're giving an approval, that'd be fine.
I think we're good. But remember the comment on the windows. I think you need to kind of tighten them all together because it's kind of like one of each.
I think the only real comments is study the north elevation and look for some, I heard study again, the material transitions on the driveway, look for further opportunities to break that up if possible, and then a potential for creating more connectivity between landscape areas in terms of maybe a path or whatever would connect those, right?
Yeah, that was a good
Robert, and then anything else. That's it, really.
Okay, so
Those two
we're good
things.
for motion. Have a, is a motion a second?
Who wants to make a second?
I'll make a second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right.
Good. Congratulations. Bye. And that closed the business for the ISBAR last meeting of the year. Thank you all.
Adjourned.